Welcome back to DeChamps Rants and Reviews. I'm Mark DeChamp Deschamps, and today we're going to be talking about my favorite franchise in all of gaming, and that's Pokemon. Now, if you're a Pokemon fan, one thing that you should know about 2026 is it's probably going to be a pretty big year. This is the 30th anniversary of the franchise. It was originally released in Japan in 1996 with the original red and green entries on Game Boy. Now, technically, the franchise did not come to North America until 1998, but nobody's going to be celebrating that in 2 years. We're going to just go right ahead with the 30th anniversary this year. Now, the Pokemon Company has been really coy about any plans to celebrate the occasion, but we've already gotten some pretty interesting teases about what's to come. We already have a couple of games that are slated to come out this year. We have a bunch of new products that are on the way, which, I mean, that's kind of par for the course when it comes to Pokemon stuff. But, like, it already feels like we're on the precipice of something really big. And that's really exciting for me as a Pokemon fan. Now, this week was kind of the real like starting point of announcements for 2026, I think. So we've known for a while now that the Lego Group and the Pokemon Company were going to start up a partnership. Pokemon and Mega Bloks had a partnership for several years, and we knew last year that that was coming to an end in 2026, and we would be getting Pokemon Lego sets for the first time ever. And the Lego Group fully pulled back the curtain. We have some really, really cool looking sets on the way, including an Eevee set that is the most affordable set out of everything revealed so far at about $59.99. Real great likeness of Eevee. Like, Eevee fanatics are going to be all over it. There is a cool Pikachu with Pokeball set that's coming, and I think that's somewhere around the ballpark of like $199.99, so already getting pretty steep. But the big boy is a set that features the evolutions of the 3 Cantonian starters. So we have Charizard, Venusaur, and Blastoise in this massive looking set. It looks really cool, I'm not gonna lie. And on top of that, the thing that like I think is like the coolest is they have a gift with purchase if you buy on the Lego store, and you can get a Lego set of all 8 of the Kanto badges that you got in the original Red and Blue games. So it kills me that that's not actually being sold and you have to spend $650. That set is going to go for like massive bucks on eBay. So if you do have like the interest and like the money to like go for it, you better jump on that quick, because that's going to be gone and it's going to be a hot collector's item. I'm personally hoping we see Lego and the Pokemon Company release some smaller sets. That's one thing that Mega Bloks did do really, really well in their time with the license. There was a whole range of sizes for sets and different price ranges that made it a lot more affordable to buy. Now, the products were real hit and miss, I'm not gonna lie. I had some that I did like. I actually have like a little like Lego Pokeball, or I'm sorry, Mega Block Pokeball that I love. Like, it's just like a neat little desk toy. But like a lot of like the mini figures that they did were super. They were all over the place in terms of quality. My oldest had a really great looking Goldeen, and I had like a not so hot Charmander, and Charmander is my favorite Pokemon of all. Like, he was my starter in Pokemon Red going back to 1998. So like I've always been a big Charmander fan. So I was a little disappointed that they didn't do great by him. But these new Lego sets, they're exciting. We'll see what's to come. Lego's been weird with their video game stuff. They kind of dip their toes in. Like, Zelda fans have been waiting for some affordable sets for a while now, and all there is the Great Deku Tree Lego set, which is, like a $250 set. So it's tough. Hopefully we see a lot more with Pokemon than we have with Zelda. Pokemon is the biggest gaming franchise like in the world. So if Lego squanders the opportunity and we don't get like a whole ton of sets that are more affordable and more accessible, that's a huge ball drop. But the sets revealed so far look really cool, and it's a good starting point, I think. Beyond that, we already have 2 video games that are coming out this year. We have Pokemon Pocopia that looks like it's going to be the first one out of the gate. That's coming on March 5th. And then we have Pokemon Champions that we know is 2026. We just don't know when exactly. Big shrug. We'll probably get some details in the coming weeks. So Pokemon Day is on February 27th, which is also the release date for the Lego sets. That day has been held by, we've seen the Pokemon Company use that date to have announcements, like a whole slew of announcements. Usually we get like a live stream where we get all kinds of announcements setting up like the following, that whole next year. So mark your calendars. We don't have anything officially announced, but like we know that there's going to be, based on every year so far, we know that there's going to be something held on February 27th. So if you're new to the Pokemon franchise and you don't know that, make sure you've got that date like circled on your calendar. There's going to be tons to announce, or tons to find out about. The one thing that we don't have confirmed, but like it's the worst kept secret in the world, is the next Pokemon generation will very likely be revealed that day. It's been a few years now since the release of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. So we know that there's going to be a new generation. Like it's going to happen. And very likely it'll be a Switch 2 exclusive. Anything beyond that remains to be seen. I wouldn't be surprised if we get like some kind of small teaser. Maybe we see like the first 3 starters. And then, we'll get like a bunch of announcements throughout the year. They're not going to clog it with something that realistically probably won't be out until like November of 2026. But, we'll get the initial announcement, and then we'll get, a spattering of announcements throughout like the next year. But I'm excited to see what the plan is. Like, this is a big deal. Like the 10th generation coming out on the 30th anniversary. Hopefully, and it'll be like the first, in theory, it'll be the first built from the ground up Switch 2 Pokemon game. Like we have Pokemon Legends ZA on Switch 2 right now, but it's kind of like a weird borderline thing where, because it came out on the original Switch also. So like we've seen Game Freak using, the Switch 2's abilities, but like they're not going to be able to push it as hard on something that's also on the original Switch. So I'm very curious to see what this looks like. And on top of that, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet were not... The performance of those games, like I'm a big Pokemon Scarlet and Violet fan. I've spent a lot of time with those games over, the last, 3-ish years. I enjoy the generation overall, but the performance of the games, in terms of how they actually played on the original Switch was awful. And it was awful at launch, and we got to see a lot of updates throughout the last 3 years, and especially when Switch 2 came out, we did see like a big performance update that makes the game run much smoother. And the Pokemon Company knows people weren't happy. So I'm hopeful that Gen 10 will rectify those mistakes. When it does come out, I think we're going to see something that's a lot more impressive. At least that's the hope. So I'm curious to see that. The one thing that, man, I'm really, really, really hoping that we get in 2026 is some kind of release for the original games. It's been a very long time since the Game Boy Pokemon games have been made available. They were sold on 3DS. We got, red, blue, yellow, gold, silver, and crystal on the 3DS Virtual Console. But it's wild to me that we still don't have those games playable on Nintendo Switch. My dream would be like a compilation, like physical package with like some kind of crazy art book and with the ability to like use like the Super Game Boy, borders, because like I love those old Super Game Boy borders. The one for Blue was so fantastic with like Charmander, Bulbasaur, and Squirtle in like each of the corners. I really would love to see like them go wild with it. Even like making the Doduo and Dodrio modes from Pokemon Stadium that like let you go super fast through the games available. Like go to town. I would just die to have like a really great collection that had those games available. Maybe even had some like documentary features. Like we've seen this in like a lot of compilation games. Over the last few years, like Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection, like give me some documentary features, interview, people that were responsible for creating, the original Pokemon games and for bringing them over to North America and localizing them and coming up with these iconic names that, have stood the test of time. I would just love that so much. And I don't know, like, is it going to happen? Like, I still have my copies of Pokemon Red and Pokemon Yellow and stuff on the original Game Boy. I still have the digital versions on my 3DS. I have no shortage of ways to play those games. I want to play them on my Switch. Like I do. I want to play them on my Switch. And on top of that, like, I want to be able to, like, transfer Pokemon that I catch in it to Pokemon Home. Man, just... it's got to happen this year, right? Like it's the 30th anniversary, man. Like that's the one thing I'm really crossing my fingers on this year. I hope it happens. We don't know if there's any plans for those games. We do know though of at least 2 old school Pokemon games that are finally getting re-released for the first time ever, actually. Pokemon Coliseum and Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness. Now, both of those games were announced for the GameCube app that's going to be available, or that is available on Nintendo Switch 2 if you're a Nintendo Switch Online subscriber. Those 2 games were announced all the way back in April of 2025 when the Switch 2 was first announced. So we know for a fact that those games are coming to Virtual Console. Not Virtual Console, I'm sorry. Nintendo Switch Online. I'm getting it's so easy to get those 2 names mixed up. But anyway, we know that those are both coming to Nintendo Switch Online. We don't have a release date. Very safe bet, though, that we're going to see them in February to commemorate Pokemon Day. At least that's my guess. There's only 3 announced GameCube games that are not currently on the app yet, if I remember correctly. The only other one besides those is Super Mario Sunshine, which in all likelihood we'll see in March instead, because March is Mario Day. March 10th is Mario Day. So it would make sense for Nintendo to hold Super Mario Sunshine, have it for Mario Day, and have the Pokemon games in February. We'll see, but, it seems like a safe bet. On top of all that, man, there's a lot more, believe it or not. This month, we actually have the first TCG set of 2026 coming out, Ascended Heroes on January 30th. Then on March 27th, we have Perfect Order, which was just announced. And finally, like the last really big thing that we know is coming, even though we haven't seen anything announced. This year, in addition to being the 30th anniversary of the Pokemon franchise, it will also be the 10th anniversary of Pokemon Go. I love Pokemon Go. I have been playing Pokemon Go. I did take a 2-year break, I will say that. I started on day one with Pokemon Go. Took a break from like that fall to 2018. From 2016 to 2018, I took a break, and once they added Pokemon Go compatibility to like the mainline games, I was all in. I was back. The ability to like send Pokemon that I caught in Pokemon Go over to the mainline games was got me right back, and I've been a daily Pokemon Go player ever since. So I'm really curious to see what the Pokemon Company and Niantic do with Pokemon Go's 10th anniversary. You know, it's a big deal. Mobile games, they have shelf lives. You're lucky if you get a mobile game that lasts for 2 years or 5 years. 10 years is like a huge deal. So hopefully we get to see Pokemon Go really celebrate that fact. It's been a key part of the franchise for a decade now. It's important, and it's drawn in a lot of fans. It brought fans back to the Pokemon franchise. So you can't really have a big 30th anniversary without celebrating all that Pokemon Go has done. So I don't know. It's exciting. I'm really amped. I wanted to talk about it today because 2026, man, this is what I'm amped for. Pokemon. Like right now, things are a little dark in the world. So 2026, there's not a whole ton to look forward to outside of, video games and entertainment and movies and such. So, we've got to celebrate where we can. And Pokemon has been a huge part of my life now since, 1998. And I'm excited to see what ways we get to celebrate it. There's a lot of other pie in the sky dreams that I would love to see. I would die to see the Pokemon Company give us like a new reprint of the Toshihiro Ono Electric Tale of Pikachu manga, which has been out of print for decades now. I still have my old copies of the comic that are totally ratty, falling apart. But I would love like a new printing of those. Probably not going to happen. But, we'll see. We'll see what the Pokemon Company has up their sleeves, and hopefully it's a lot of good stuff. So I've been rambling on for a while now. I want to know what you're excited for, what you're hoping for. Are you planning on picking up Pokopia in March? Are you excited for Pokemon Champions? What do you think we're going to get for Gen 10? Let me know in the comments. Hit me up on social media. I'm on Blue Sky at Mark, MARCDA Champ. That's my primary social media account. I'm on there all the time. I'm always ranting about games and about Pokemon. So if you're on there, please follow me. I'd love to hear from you. If you're watching my videos and you really like what I'm saying, give me a follow there. Give me a follow here. The more followers I have, the easier it is to talk about stuff and review games. It gets me in the door. So please think about following. Please think about sharing. Become a subscriber. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. Take care. And like I said, let me know what you're looking forward to when it comes to Pokemon.